Fury has allowed someone to cut him open with a knife above his eye when he sparred and trained for 7
last years. You know, the guy's trained hard, he's here to prove a point, he's got a big opportunity.
But I can do. No, you not can do. Because you not can do 1 minute.
Usyk, I think, is the best fighter of our generation. But if you go on too long, you'll get beat.
Let me be honest with you. The only best shot he chucked was that body shot.
Absolutely.
But everything else was whack. Everything else was whack.
I agree.
I don't know why he did not use his.
Boxing world just reacted to Anthony Joshua knock down Oleksandr Usyk in sparring. And hearing this clip puts everything into perspective. If Anthony Joshua still hasn't shown the full extent of what he can do, yet he's reportedly dropping a master like Usyk, then Jake Paul is stepping into levels he cannot survive.
Don't get me wrong, he's got some good wins, but he could have beaten so many more of the elite guys from his...
Frank Warren hears the claim that Usyk was dropped in sparring and immediately admits it's the first he's heard of it. When he repeats that it's genuinely news to him, it shows how shocking this is. People do get dropped, but when the name is Usyk, the rumor carries real weight.
People get dropped in sparring, but generally is news to me. I've not heard that before.
Oleksandr Usyk himself reacted to the sparring knockdown by praising Anthony Joshua, calling him a great man and an Olympic champion. And that's Usyk indirectly admitting Joshua's power is very real. If Joshua can drop someone of Usyk's caliber, Jake Paul needs to understand he's walking toward a level that can seriously hurt him.
Anthony is great man. He's a great boxer. He's Olympic champion.
Derek Chisora explains that sparring is where lessons are learned, and getting knocked out teaches a fighter what silly move cost them. That makes the Joshua Usyk moment even more serious, because if Joshua punished a mistake from someone as elite as Usyk, Jake Paul won't survive the first correction.
Fight, it's totally different. Sparring, you're there to learn. So the guy you knocked out in sparring, he's understanding, okay, I did this silly move, that's how I got knocked out. So I'm gonna have to stop doing these silly moves so I don't get...
Tony Bellew lays it out brutally clear, saying if Anthony Joshua steps in with 10-ounce gloves and Jake Paul stands across from him, the fight lasts only as long as Joshua allows it. And hearing that from Bellew, who knows power, tells you Jake Paul is hopeless here.
Because if Anthony Joshua puts 10-ounce gloves on and gets in a boxing ring and Jake Paul is in the other corner, this won't last long. This will last as long as Josh wants it to last.
Shannon Briggs reacts with that trademark disbelief, saying he only heard this talk recently. But even if Anthony Joshua dropped Usyk more than once in the gym, it doesn't define the fight itself. What matters is the level of danger Joshua carries every time he throws a shot, and Briggs knows that power better than most. His point about the gym not winning fights actually highlights something bigger. If Joshua is doing that behind closed doors, imagine what happens when the lights hit and the punches are thrown with full intention. That reality should make anyone facing him rethink everything.
See, this is going to be a good fight. I just heard that rumor that, this morning or last night. I don't know if it's true. Somebody said he's been down in the gym a couple of times, but that don't mean nothing.
Anthony Joshua speaks with a level of conviction that comes only from someone who has shared rounds with champions like Usyk and felt the reality of that standard. When he says he will break Jake Paul's face and body, it isn't bravado. It's the mentality forged from Olympic-level discipline and heavyweight warfare. He's not talking about hype or entertainment. He's talking about proving superiority through force, something Jake has never experienced from a true heavyweight. When Joshua steps forward with that mindset, it becomes less of a competition and more of a physical reckoning that Jake simply isn't built to handle.
I'm gonna break his face. I'm gonna break his body up. I'm gonna stomp all over him. That's my mentality, right? That's a fighter's mentality. And I know what's in my heart. I know what's in my mind. And I'm here to compete. I'm here to prove myself that I'm the better fighter. So
Sam Jones drops the humor instantly as soon as the reality becomes clear. He mentions how nobody wants permanent damage for Jake Paul because the sport has seen enough tragedies. But when he references the right hand Anthony Joshua detonated on Francis Ngannou, the message is brutal and honest. That shot landed on a man built like a fortress, and it folded him. If the same power crashes into Jake Paul, the outcome becomes frighteningly predictable. Jones isn't hyping anything. He's warning that the difference in physicality is so massive that one clean Joshua right hand could end everything in an instant.
Listen, we can all joke, but nobody wants any permanent damage to happen to Jake Paul. But if Anthony Joshua hits Jake Paul with the right hand he hit Francis Ngannou with, he could brown bread him.
Tony Bellew breaks the matchup down in the most practical way possible by highlighting the undeniable facts. The size difference alone is an entire mountain that Jake Paul can't climb. Anthony Joshua being inches taller and nearly 100 pounds heavier transforms the fight into something completely unrealistic for Jake. Bellew makes it clear that there's no shortcut to bridging that gap. In a real ring, with real gloves, the result becomes a formality. The moment Joshua steps forward, the physical pressure, reach, and sheer power will overwhelm Jake before he even understands the pace of a heavyweight exchange.
Anthony Joshua, who's now 5 inches bigger than you, maybe more, or 4 or 5 inches, and about 100 pounds heavier. You just don't go from there right up to there. I don't believe it. And I won't believe it until the two of them got 10-ounce gloves on in a boxing ring. Because if Anthony Joshua puts 10-ounce gloves on and gets in a boxing ring and Jake Paul is in the other corner, this won't last long.
Froch speaks with a bluntness only he can deliver. He calls Jake Paul a fake for a reason, reminding everyone that Jake couldn't even handle Tommy Fury, a man Froch doesn't rate at British level. When Froch says you can't put Jake in with Anthony Joshua and take it seriously, he's exposing the mismatch for what it truly is. Joshua is a huge punching heavyweight with pedigree, experience, and knockout force that doesn't compare to anything Jake has faced. The gap isn't just wide, it's impossible to close. Froch is essentially saying Jake is entering territory far beyond his abilities.
But AJ's a big punching heavyweight, and Fake Paul's never been in with a heavyweight. Like I said earlier, he lost to Tommy Fury, a cruiserweight. He lost to him. Tommy Fury's not even British level, so you can't chuck Fake Paul in with Anthony Joshua. And
Spencer Oliver makes it painfully clear that Jake Paul is in over his head. Seeing Anthony Joshua dismantle Francis Ngannou in just a few rounds showed the kind of precision and power that Jake simply cannot match. Jake's background in white-collar boxing or celebrity bouts doesn't prepare him for a true heavyweight like Joshua. Even his only real test against a legitimate boxer, Tommy Fury, ended in defeat. Oliver is essentially warning that Jake is walking into a storm he cannot control, and that any illusions of skill or toughness are going to be brutally shattered when Joshua brings his full force.
God help Jake Paul, that's all I can say. We saw that what Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou. He went out there and iced him in a couple of rounds. A guy coming from a different discipline. Well, this kid's coming from another level. You know, white-collar boxing in 2018, gone through the mill, and the only boxer really that he's actually boxed, a legitimate boxer he got beat by.
Derek Chisora is emphasizing just how devastating Anthony Joshua can be when he wants to be. He isn't talking about a long competitive fight. He's warning that Jake Paul will be finished fast if Joshua executes the same dominance he showed over Francis Ngannou. Chisora makes it clear that anyone expecting a prolonged bout is dreaming. Joshua has the skill, the power, and the experience to end this in 2 to 3 rounds without breaking a sweat. For Jake Paul, stepping into the ring is stepping into an arena where every punch carries lethal intent, and there is no margin for error or survival.
No, I don't back Jake Paul. That means what is it you're doing? You have to smoke him in 3 rounds. The same way he did Ngannou. How many rounds was Ngannou?
2, second round.
Exactly. So he has to smoke him.
Johnny Nelson voices what many are thinking about Jake Paul taking on Anthony Joshua. He doesn't mince words, calling it dangerous and questioning whether any governing body would ever approve this matchup if it weren't for the business side of boxing. Nelson underlines the risk, making it clear that this isn't just a fight, It's a serious mismatch with potentially dangerous consequences. Anthony Joshua is a seasoned professional with power and experience far beyond what Jake Paul has faced. The reality is that the business allows the fight to happen, but Nelson's warning implies Jake Paul could pay a very high price for stepping into this ring.
So you think this could be dangerous for Jake Paul?
Oh my goodness, without a doubt. Now the governing bodies now have got to look at this. Would they sanction this fight in any other dimension? No, they wouldn't. But unfortunately, boxing is now more business than show. And this is business. And so the sanctioning bodies aren't going to say, no, this kid doesn't deserve to be there. You look.
Dave Allen highlights the enormous physical disparity between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. Calling Jake a cruiserweight by comparison drives home just how outmatched he is. Joshua's size, strength, and natural heavyweight frame give him a clear advantage that cannot be bridged by confidence or hype. Allen's observation is a stark reminder that Jake is stepping into a ring with someone built for power, endurance, and real heavyweight combat. The gap is monumental and suggests that any expectation of a fair contest is unrealistic. Joshua's dominance isn't just skill-based, it's a physical reality that Jake Paul simply cannot overcome.
I'm not sure really, Jake Paul's a cruiserweight, isn't he? Not even that. He won't be anywhere near as big as partner of mine.
Frank Warren lays out the harsh truth about this matchup. Anthony Joshua is a natural heavyweight, two-time world champion, and Olympic gold medalist with power that has already dismantled elite opponents like Francis Ngannou. Jake Paul, in contrast, has no amateur background and only a dozen professional bouts, none against real heavyweights. The mismatch is glaring, and Warren's words underline how one-sided this could be. Anthony Joshua's skill, power, and experience put him in an entirely different league. For Jake Paul, stepping into the ring isn't just a challenge, it's a warning that he's completely unprepared for the caliber of punishment Joshua can deliver.
AJ's a massive favourite. He's a natural heavyweight, two-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist. We all seen him. He can punch, he can bang. You see what he's done to Ngannou. Jake Paul, I don't think he's had amateur experience. He's had 12 fights, I think, as a...
Simon Jordan is bluntly stating the absurdity of Jake Paul even considering a fight with Anthony Joshua. Despite Joshua's setback against Daniel Dubois, Jordan points out that physically and technically, Joshua remains fully capable of dominating any challenger in his path. The mental side may be slightly affected, but that has no bearing against someone as inexperienced as Jake Paul. Jordan makes it clear that stepping in with a two-time world champion is not just ambitious, it borders on reckless. Jake Paul is entering a fight where the odds, experience, power, and skill are all overwhelmingly against him, and the slightest mistake could be catastrophic in Joshua's hands.
Financial welfare, but Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the loss.
Duke McKenzie breaks it down in chilling terms, warning that for Jake Paul, this could be the easiest payday he ever sees. But the danger is enormous. Joshua can control the pace, the power, and the entire fight without breaking a sweat. Yet McKenzie reminds us that Jake Paul has no chance of gaining credibility from this matchup. The moment Joshua lands his shots, the fight could end catastrophically for Paul, potentially resulting in serious injury. McKenzie's words are a stark warning to anyone underestimating the threat Joshua poses. The financial allure might tempt Jake, but stepping into a ring with Anthony Joshua is stepping into a realm of punishment that few survive.
It'll be the easiest fight of his career. If he wants to get 100 million and not even break sweat, you take the fight. Is it going to enhance his stock as the world's #1 contender? Not at all, because nobody's going to take Jake Paul seriously. But on the other hand, I don't even want to play devil's advocate. What if Joshua hurts this guy, seriously hurts this guy, and puts this guy in hot?
After watching all these reactions from boxing experts, the reality is undeniable. Anthony Joshua has proven time and again that he is a true heavyweight force with Olympic pedigree, world championships, and knockout power that can change fights instantly. Dropping Oleksandr Usyk in sparring shows Joshua is operating at a level far beyond what Jake Paul has ever faced. Every expert from Spencer Oliver to Duke McKenzie has highlighted the massive skill gap, physical disparity, and danger Paul is walking into. This isn't just about hype or entertainment. It's a real warning that Joshua's punches carry life-altering consequences. For Jake Paul, stepping into the ring is stepping into a storm he has no experience surviving. Fans need to understand that this is not a fair contest, and Joshua's dominance is clear before a single bell rings. Are you backing Anthony Joshua, or do you think Jake Paul can pull the impossible upset? Drop your thoughts below.